I'm Sarah Warren. I'm the Cabinet Member for Climate Emergency at Bath and North Somerset Council, and I'm so glad that everyone could join us this evening and that Lorna Montgomery could join us. So welcome to our Climate Conversations webinar, and today I'm interviewing Lorna, who leads Bath Share and Repair. Last week's event it finally went up today on my new YouTube channel, so you can go and find it there if you want to catch up with what I discuss with Donald McIntyre of Emilsgate Seeds, and future events can be booked onto through Eventbrite. So it's Sarah Warren's Climate Conversations. So this evening, first of all, we're going to hear from Lorna, and then you'll have a chance to ask questions by clicking on the chat button, which may well be in the top right hand corner of your screen, depending on what device you're using. And if you ask some questions, then at the end we'll put them to Lorna as well. So I'll ask you and then you'll get a turn. So with all that said, I'm delighted to welcome Lorna Montgomery of Share and Repair Bath. Lorna, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Sorry about the technical hitch.
Don't worry. It happens to all of us. We're all getting very used to this, aren't we? With everything.
It was all going so well.
I know. So what gave you the idea, Lorna, to set up Bath Share and Repair?
Well, I think it started really as a consciousness of us becoming a throwaway society when things just couldn't be mended, and partly because I come from a family where my father mended everything, and so it was in the blood. And when finally my kettle broke again, I took it to my neighbour David, who said, "Oh, if only I had the tool, I could mend this." And I said, "Right, that's it. I think we need the people with tools and the skills in one place, and they can mend things for free, or just mend things." And so he said, "Oh, I think something like this exists." So we looked it up, we Googled, and we found the Restart project, but they only did electrical and electronic items. But through them, I got in touch with them and was excited that there was an organisation, because I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. And at the same time, somehow or another, the community, I found out about the university doing a community event. And when I went up there, I got in touch with the Bath and North East Somerset waste management team. And so they came on board, and I met somebody who'd been involved in a repair cafe in another part of the country. So together we decided on a model of repair cafe, because they mend everything. And really it sort of started from that beginning.
So how long ago was that?
Well, that was in 2017.
Yes.
So it's 3 years now since we started the first repair cafe on April the 22nd, 2017.
So how many repair cafes do we have now in Bath?
Well, actually in Bath we should have 4, and then in Baines we have about 9 or 10. Oh no, we have more than 4 in Bath. We have some pop-up ones as well. So we have them in the first one in Bear Flat hasn't happened because of lockdown, but we started Weston, Larkhall, Southdown, and now we have the university as well, and we're going to have Bath Spa University. That had to be cancelled as well. And then we've got the villages of High Littleton, Peasdown, and then soon Farnborough and others.
That's an incredible undertaking. I mean, how many volunteers do you have involved now?
Well, in total, we've got about 160 volunteers.
That's enormous. That's an incredible achievement. And
well, I was just going to say that's across Share and Repair, so that's for everything, and that's a huge mixture of skill sets.
And ask, what skill sets do you need? If anyone's watching and would like to get involved, what sort of skill sets are you looking for?
Well, I mean, the volunteers, everybody's a volunteer, and they are all totally amazing because they are the most important resource that we have. We have people, obviously the repairers are very, very essential, and the most needed skill for them is electrical and electronic engineering. Most repairers are either engineers or sewers, so we have all those different types. And then we have all the other people who do the admin, who do data crunching, who upload information to various sites and look after the people when they come in. They write stories. We have social media. We actually do pay somebody to do our social media because we realized that it was certainly not a skill I had. And it really has paid off.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, the social media aspect was the build up to the announcement of us having a shop for the library of things. And we put out a little teaser. And then when we announced it on March the 12th, we had something like nearly 600 shares and likes on Facebook and something enormous on Twitter. And it meant we had a reach of about 79,000 people. So it was incredible.
That is incredible. So what happened though about that shop? Because you open it.
The shop is sitting there dressed in the window, and that's an extension Bath and North East Somerset very kindly gave us a shop for 4 months so that we could try out the concept of a centralised library of things with a repair cafe inside. Well, we can't call it cafe because there's too many cafes in Bath, but a repair shop inside. And we had it all ready to open. And then, of course, we were due to open on March the 23rd, but we couldn't.
Because the lockdown came in that week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how does the Library of Things work?
So the Library of Things, it was another little passion of mine, that we all have too many things and we should share more. And Street Bank set up. I joined Street Bank, but it's not very active. And I think people don't like people coming to their house to borrow things.
So Street Bank.
Street Bank, the thing where you can put up things that you've got that you're willing for other people to share. But a lot of people didn't like the idea of just anybody coming to their house and taking an item away and maybe checking out their house or something. So I thought there should be a centralized place, and we just advertised for items under categories, and I think we've most likely got about 100 items now. Maybe we hadn't very many to begin with, but since we got the shop, we're getting a lot more. And the idea is that people borrow for a week, or in the case of the professional carpet cleaner, 2 days. And then they bring it back. And some people who give us things want to just loan it to us. And then, you know, we sort of, they can borrow obviously anytime they want to themselves. We do have to make a sort of small charge, which is is a suggested donation maybe in time, or we might go for a different type of membership where people pay £30 and get everything for free. We're sort of looking at the membership style, but at the moment the interest has grown enormously, and people are just joining quite regularly. I think it's really a good way of supporting us that people just join, even if they don't think that they need anything right away. Because at the moment it's only £10 a year, so it's really not very much at all. And then you get a discount on the item. But as I say, we're reviewing the way that we operate the Library of Things. And once we're up and running, we'll have that sorted out.
So £10 a year at the moment, that sounds like an incredible bargain. If it saves me going out and buying a huge drill when I want to drill a hole in a wall.
Yeah.
And so going back to the repair cafe, what's the strangest thing that anyone's ever brought in for repair?
Well, I think when somebody rang and said or emailed and said could they bring their dishwasher, I said, well, I don't think we can actually test that out. So no, not to a dishwasher. We've had an armchair, which is quite, things that are large are quite strange. And then we had a garden umbrella, which took over the whole hall. And then the singing toys are the ones that once they actually start working, there's sometimes just spontaneous applause around the room. So we have, it's just lovely, you know, because the atmosphere is just fantastic at the repair cafes, because the repairers are happy, the people who come are happy, even if it's not mended, they're happy, because then they know they can throw it away with a clear conscience.
It's a lovely social thing, isn't it? I've been along myself, and they coach you through the repair so that you might be brave enough to try it yourself another time.
Exactly.
It's a social thing. I mean, you have to go with plenty of time. You know, you can just pop in and pop out again. You need to go with plenty of time.
You do, yeah. You have to think time.
Yes, but it's an enjoyable experience.
Good. I'm glad.
I do with my children, and they involve the children in the repair as well.
Yeah.
And what kind of people do you have for helping you there? You know, what kind of people are your typical volunteers?
Well, we have a mixture. I suppose the majority, and I would say that's most likely 65% would be retired. And then the rest are still actively working, some part-time, some not. But as I said, the repairers are mainly engineers. And then other people, I think the admin and the data crunching type people are mainly still working. But without them, you know, as I said, we couldn't operate.
And are you able to measure the impact of what you're doing then?
Well, I think yes, we can. The difficult measure is really the social impact, because I believe it has plays a huge part on the sort of whole community cohesion of an area, because you get this fantastic interaction of intergenerational chat and people sharing ideas and experiences, and that's lovely. And then we've got the use of the volunteers and their skills, which for a lot of retired people is, you know, it feels that their skills are going to waste, but now they're being put into good use. But then we also wanted to measure because our aim is to say reduce carbon emissions. So now through the Restart project, we are recording. It takes a bit more time, but we record the item, the model and the make. And so, for example, in one of the Lark Hall ones in January, or the Lark Hall one in January, we monitored about 40 items, and we worked out that we'd saved 112 kilograms of carbon emissions or something like that. I haven't got I've fiddled around with things, so I haven't got the figures in front of me now, but you know, we put those into a fixometer, and the fixometer tells us that how much carbon and how much waste we've saved, and that makes a great difference to be able to tell that.
This is on a website, is it?
Sorry?
Is the fixometer on a website? Can people see that?
They can if they go into the restarters.net, and you can join as an interested person, and then you can see what each of our repair cafes have done. And we only started inputting the data, I think, at the end of December, so we haven't got a lot of data yet. But again, it's a project that I thought, you know, we could get a load of students in a room with a load of laptops, because we've got all the forms. We haven't got all the exact data, but we could upload a load of information onto it.
Yeah, so we could see each of the Bath and North East Somerset repair cafes individually.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what we're going on from now. We will definitely be able to do that, and we've got quite a few of them up there already.
Yeah, and that must be a huge amount of carbon, because any item you buy in the shops has got a carbon footprint associated with its manufacture and transport, hasn't it? And so the fact that it breaks down after 2 years or 5 years and you have to buy a new one, that's the saving, isn't it?
Yeah. And one of the things that's really current is the idea of the right to repair. and that's something that we are getting behind and asking MPs and everybody to back it. In that is forcing manufacturers to make things accessible for repair in such a way. Not built.
I was going to ask, can people find more out about that on the internet?
Yes, through the Restart project in particular.
Right, so they should look for Restart, and they should look for Right to Repair.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think you might have started some how-to workshops. Can you tell me about those?
Yes, it was just an idea when people were coming into the repair cafe and they saw the sewing machine and say, oh yes, you know, I've got one of those, but I just don't get on with it. I can't use it properly. So we started sort of having sessions where people could come along and get some instruction. And then more recently, we formalized it and used Eventbrite to book tickets for it and restricted the number of people. And we had how to use your sewing machine, how to use power and hand tools, and we should have had how to maintain and repair your bike, and they were all full. But the first two, as I said, we held, and they were really successful, and people wanted more. So it's great to be able to empower people to do more for themselves.
Have you thought of going online now in these times of lockdown?
Well, I think we're working out a way to do the bikes so that there'll be a sociable, you know, acceptable distance between them. The sewing machines we could do possibly online, and again in conjunction with the Restart project. You can tell we have a lot to do with the Restart project. They are looking at sewing machine repair, because that's obviously quite a lot of people are back using sewing machines, especially with all the people sewing scrubs and things like that, which we've been involved in a bit. So yes, we're looking at what things we can put online and standardizing. So rather than if you had a drill and it broke down and going to the manufacturer, we would have a standard set of this is a drill, look at these things, this is what you can do to see if you can mend it yourself. And that's different to the how-to. That's more on the repair side, but definitely we could. I think there's other people doing all the mending and things. I think people like the one-to-one because they do have a manual for their sewing machine, for example, so they could look at that. But if people like to have their hands held, which obviously we can't do.
So if people watching want to get involved in some form, how can they find you online? Are you on Facebook?
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we have a website, shareandrepair.org.uk, and you can donate through there as well, and you can get involved. You can email us and say we'd love to be a volunteer, and that would be great. And just spread the word, really.
That's great. So I think you've got a poll you want the audience to take part in next, and so that's going to open up. Tell us about the poll.
So we've been talking a lot about what items should we be asking everybody to contribute to the library, and we thought, why not just ask people what was the last item that they needed and didn't have to hand and would like to have borrowed. So an item that you'd like to have borrowed that you don't have. And the items that we have in our library are things that you only use every now and again. So not pots and pans really, but an ice cream maker or a drill or a hedge trimmer, things like that.
So that poll should be opening up for you now, the participants, if you want to take part in it for the next 5 minutes. And then in the meantime, if some people have sent us in some questions, my colleague, Councillor Matt McCabe, is going to take a look and put some of those to Lorna. That's enough from me for the minute. Enough from Matt.
Okay, so just if you want to ask a question, there's a Q&A panel. Oh, we've got a question from Viv. I just want to flag up that Time Bank Plus in Twerton also operates a library of things called Borrow It, which is well used in the southwest Bath area. We hope to be able to reopen fairly soon following the lockdown. So are you teaming up with to the other people around Bath?
We're in conversation,
Yeah.
but we operate in a different model. So it's ideally what we'd like to be able to do is have joint lists, but I think they operate mainly for the community of Twerton on a free basis, which is great, and that's absolutely fine. But the way that we operate, we can't operate on a free basis, so we have to make a small charge for our library things.
Okay, I was just going to say, everybody, if you're looking for the Q&A box, you'll see a little button with 3 dots on it that says more options, and if you click on that, you can see at the top there a Q&A, and that should open up the panel for you. Got a question from Louise. Are you getting any response from government re the right to repair? Which MPs are backing this issue?
We're just about to get in touch with Wera to ask her to sign it. Vince Cable did support it previously, and what we're hoping is that we can, because obviously Wera's got environment to her name, we hope that she can make a bit of a thing about it.
I'm sure you,
right now.
Sure, you're talking to the right people. Got a question from Roz, wondering if you input your Repair Cafe data into Repair Monitor. Repair Cafe Weymouth does, but very few repair cafes. My computer's getting away. Very few repair cafes in the UK use it. Do you use the Repair Monitor?
No, we use the Fixometer. I went to a repair cafe conference recently, and somebody brought up yet another model for measuring carbon emissions. And to be quite honest, I just think it'd be much easier if everybody used the same one, and then and then we'd be able to standardize the results. So yeah, it's a difficult one really, but because we are involved with the Restart project, we use the Fixometer.
Okay, well, as Repair Cafe Weymouth had such trouble getting on at the beginning, welcome. Got a question from Jackie. Are you looking for more villages to set up repair cafes? Are you just Bath, or are you out in North East Somerset?
We're Bath and North East Somerset, and as long as there's somebody willing to run it. Now we can't run any more ourselves, so the way that the model works now is in Farnborough, High Littleton and Peasden. I've got people there who are responsible for it on a day-to-day basis, and we give them all the support. Keynsham has got one now, and they've come under our umbrella as well, because there's the question of insurance which we need to have, and so we're happy as long as everybody is keen to follow our model and our values. Then we're happy to support them with insurance. But there has to be somebody there who's willing to run it, and we'll give them all the support, all the models, everything.
Okay, another question from Sue, good one. Is it possible to borrow things at the moment? Also, more for the council, do schools have capacity to teach how to repair items, or could they have a repair cafe? And Lorna, have you ever been into schools to do this?
I'd love to go into schools. I'd love to go and teach them some of the, talk about the basics, because I was an ex-teacher, so it's somewhere I'm very familiar with and would love to do that. It's just time. Once maybe we've got more people involved in the overall organisational elements, then maybe I could go into schools. But the first part of that question was,
is it possible to borrow things at the moment?
That's right. So at the moment, we've put on our website that if somebody wants to borrow something, they go through the process and then they contact me, and because I'm not far away, as long as it's been in the shop for 3 days at least, I will go down, open the door, because everything's done online. They can go and pick it up and take it away, and then when it comes back, it's cleaned and left, and then people can borrow it again. So we're doing a few items like that.
Jackie came back on the question of villages. She says, how much work does it take to run it? Now you've got to sell it to her here. It's very important, responsible work.
I mean, I think in a village it works incredibly well. I mean, when we had a meeting in High Littleton for all interested people, I think we had 35 people. Now, High Littleton only has a population of about 2,000, so I felt like the whole village was there, you know, representation, and it was great because it really is a community activity. So, and I think when we get to Farnborough, which we should have been doing this month, it will be the same. It works really well.
Is it a full-time job?
How much work is it? How much work is it? It happens, I mean, the model that we use is it happens once a month in the village, and you just have to advertise it, which we help with again on our social media pages, but putting information around. It's about managing the volunteers, really, and because they're the most important thing. I have made the mistake in the beginning of providing a sandwich lunch for the repairers, because I just think, well, because I like food, and it's the most important part is keep them well fed and well watered, and they'll come back, and they do. So little things like that, but you can do that actually within the cafe part of the repair cafe during the time. So it's manageable, very, very manageable. I recommend it.
Ros has come back on one of the things you mentioned before. In what way do you support other repair cafes with insurance? Is it
Well, we pay for insurance for the repair cafes within Baines, and as long as they follow our values and sign an agreement that they will, you know, have a PAT tester, they will do various things, then we will encompass them under our umbrella.
How long does a repair cafe run for? Is it a whole day thing, or is it a couple of hours?
No, we generally operate from 10 to 1, but it means that the repairers come about 9:30 and set up, because they all bring their own tools, and then we finish at 1, so we don't leave till about 1:30. So it's quite a long morning because you know they get heavily involved in their repairs, and for the people on the desk it can be very busy, and so they have to manage that and the expectations of the users.
Yes, because I asked you the question the other day, didn't I? Has the TV show helped, or does it?
I think it has helped, because I mean, when we started this 3 years ago, very few people knew what a repair cafe was, whereas now most people do sort of know. But a lot of people were really cynical about the fact, well, it can't be for free. There must be a catch. It's not. The reason we're doing it is to stop things going to landfill too soon, and people buying more. So the repair cafe, the repair shop, what's it called? The repair shop, yeah, on the television. I think it has helped, but I think it's sort of, people have got an idea that it's that we're going to mend their heirlooms. Sometimes possible, you know, people do bring us things, but
it's very good at restoration, isn't it?
It's more restoration, yeah.
A question from Ros again. Most of Repair Cafe Weymouth visitors are over 60. Do you manage to appeal to younger people, and how?
Well, we did a project with the Bath University, asking them to look at the social impact, to look at the cost benefit, and to see how could we reach a younger audience. And quite rightly, they said, well, have one here. So we do. We have, we've had 2 now at the University of Bath. And I think through that, we're hopefully instilling an idea of repairing at an early age. And ideally, of course, we'd like to be in schools and then get the message out there earlier.
So on schools, one of my colleagues at the council suggested that that you might get in touch with the Schools Climate Emergency Network. Who might begin to work with you.
Okay, that's good. That's a good suggestion.
Louise has come back with another question as well. I'm working on a textiles recycling project and interested to hear, what is the most common repair needed to clothing? Burst seam.
Yeah, we have a well. The funny thing is that when we first went to the university, I didn't think about what they might bring, and guess what they brought? All their split jeans. So the sewer was really busy for the whole time, and the rest of the electrical team weren't quite so busy. So I would say on the main, it's seams, but a lot of zips, but they take a lot of time to do. And we encourage people to get it and use it, and to take the old one out if they can in advance.
Right. Okay, so that's the way to sort of repair something. It's the zips that go.
It's zips, seams, yeah. Backpacks for the students as well.
Backpacks, okay. That's harder. That's a bit hard to stitch.
Because we don't have industrial sewing machines at the moment. We just have normal ones, so that's quite hard to do. But some of them are repairable.
And Sue's asking, do you have a suggested donation amount for repairs in each cafe? And how much income do you generate? You may not have to cover your costs.
We get a couple of grants, but it depends where we are. So if we're in a church hall like at Southdown or in Peasdown, we get the hall free. But other places we pay, and sometimes we might, and then we've got the insurance and lots of basic costs. So sometimes we do break even, sometimes we make a loss because the community there doesn't actually give very much, but it's sometimes people give £1 and have 5 items, and then other people bring 1 item that takes 5 minutes and they give us £20. So, and we don't discriminate or judge. It's just really what people want to give, and that's just life, you know. It's the way it is.
Sue, this might be one for Sarah as well. Sue is asking, how can contact be made with the School Climate Emergency Project Group?
I think they may have a Twitter presence, but if not, just email me at the council and I'll put you in touch.
Okay. And Jackie's asking, what about darning? Do you have someone who's an expert in darning?
We do have darners, yeah. We have got darners. We've had quite a few things darned. Again, when people come to the repair cafe, because we don't know what's coming, and this was the thought of when we had our very first meeting way back when, one repairer came along, and then afterwards he said, I don't see how this can work. You know, we don't know what people are bringing, so what tools do we bring? But he said, I'll give it a go. And of course, you know, he's still with me, and as I often say, I'm sure he goes out every week and buys a new tool ready to stock up his 4 toolboxes. So so we never know what expertise we're going to have in the room, because everybody's got their own skill sets, and so sometimes we will have darners. So sometimes it's a good idea for people to put up on Facebook to say, will there be a darner on Saturday, for example, and then we can make sure that there is.
Okay, that's good. And I have but I have lots of bits of gardening tools, mainly the metal bits. Will you ever be doing something about how to reattach wooden handles? Because I'll definitely come to that one.
Yeah, well, I think that's the sort of thing that if you put it up and send us that, then I can say to all our repairers who can do this, and then we'll sort it out. You know, it's sort of supply and demand in some way, in some respects.
So people can post their repair beforehand or email it to you and ask you, and then you'll tell them where and when you'll have the right repairer there.
Exactly. So we've got some repairers who've got specialist skills in clocks, for example. And so they sometimes say, will the clock repairer be there? Because they can't be everyone. So yeah, that sort of thing happens quite a lot.
Question from Michelle. Thanks for sharing today. What do you imagine, hope, repair and share in Bath will look like in the future? Are there things you wish could be repaired? And then Michelle is from Trowbridge and currently studying repair initiatives in Vancouver. Are there things that you wish could be repaired? Because you were telling me there are some things that just cannot be repaired because of the way they're built.
Yeah, I think an example of the coffee maker, which was like a Russian doll, because every layer of plastic that we got off, there was another one to take off, and you need the specialist screwdrivers. And those are the sort of things that the right to repair are sorting out, saying, come on, you know, let's make things more accessible. So what we'd like is more computer repairers. We only have 1 or 2 of those, so it would be good to have more of those. But so what does it look like in the future? Well, I'm hoping that the council will give us a shop for the next year so that we can establish really the demand. And what I'd like to see is for the library of things and sharing is a way that we can get things out to the people, so that if people booked things for the weekend, we could transport them out to a hub, and then people would pick them up from there to stop everybody coming into the city to borrow. We could maybe use a cargo bike and get them out to the various corners of the city.
Great idea. There's one more question's come in from Nick saying, what skills other than computer repairers do you need?
Always electrical and electronic. Always.
And what do you need admin people?
Because what we'd like to see is at the event that there are forms that everybody fills out. Now maybe we can do those on tablets, but not everybody's that familiar with tablets, but people could do it for them. And then we could upload the information straight onto our own spreadsheet and onto the fixometer all in one go. And that would be great. So more people to do that would be great. And then of course we have people doing refreshments and making cakes and all of those things. And more people for the shop, you know, when it opens, and then people sharing their skills through the workshops. So lots of people we need, always.
So Ros just made the point that she missed the beginning of the thing and wants to know more about the share shop library of things. But I think what you were saying there is that what you really want is for the council to extend the lease on the shop from three months, which are the 3 months of lockdown, for a whole year.
Yeah, and that would start on July the 9th for a year. And as I say, I've had a conversation, and you know, it sounds fairly positive, but of course it's all about subject to agreement. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and Chloe's saying, I love the idea of bringing them out to a hub. So
Good.
There we go.
That's great. Well, thanks everyone for your questions, and thank you to Lorna for being here and answering all these questions, and Matt McCabe, who's organised and directed for me, and Matt Back, who's been silent but doing technical support. So thank you everyone. Now, if anyone did miss the beginning and needs to catch up, I mean, obviously you can go to Lorna's website and find out all the information there, and within a few days this will have been posted on my new YouTube channel, which is, as if you go onto YouTube and search for Sarah Warren's Climate Conversations, you'll be able to listen to it all through again. Yeah, we're done. Thank you to everyone. We'll be having another session next Thursday, the 21st of May at 6 o'clock, when I'll be speaking with John Adler, who's the chair of Freshford Parish Council, about the role of parish councils in responding to the climate emergency. So thank you again, everybody, and speak to you all again soon.
Thank you,
Thank you
Lorna.
very much, everybody. Thank you.